The pandemic has forced people apart more than ever, and whether you're working from home or not, this past year and a half has certainly been isolating.
I spoke with Alice Fong, who is a naturopathic doctor specializing in stress, which I think we all face these days.
Yes.
Dr. Fong says it can be so important to make deeper human connections right now, and she offers up a few ways to do that.
Meaningful connection is so important, especially right now with the pandemic. It was like we were seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, but then with the whole new Delta variant, people are having to social distance and separate a little more. So people are needing human connection to improve their well-being and their health. I think it's so important to have a sense of belonging and have community to help us through our problems. So one of the first things I suggest for people to do is to be intentional and state your desire for deeper connection. I know that seems like an obvious solution, but it can often go unspoken as there's a level of vulnerability in asking for it. By setting the intention, it can help turn an average conversation about the weather into something more.
You know, and I was reading that as one of your steps, and I was trying to imagine what that conversation would look like. How do you say to someone, I want to build a deeper human connection?
I think it's just saying exactly that, saying, I would really love to connect with you and I'd love to go deeper. What would that look like? What is it that you're dealing with in life? Let's get real with each other. Yes.
Your other suggestions on top of that is creating a safe space to even have those conversations.
Yeah. Creating a safe space is essential because, people don't usually open up out of the blue unless they feel safe to do so. Give people the space to be themselves, however they are, even if they're not opening up and sharing their deepest, darkest secrets right away. It takes time to build trust and a sense of safety. So one of the things that would help people create that safe space might be being vulnerable first. Sometimes we're so afraid to share our struggles because it might make us look weak. We're afraid of getting judged or criticized. And yes, that could possibly happen, but some people might surprise you and be more supportive than you realize. And even if they do judge you, getting over the fear and sharing anyway and being self-expressed is a huge victory in itself and helping you becoming a more open and connected person.
You do mention that it's hard to figure out that trust or to gain that trust in someone. Mm-hmm. Is part of trusting someone else just being vulnerable?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. One of the things my father, who is a Asian American, he's an immigrant from Asia, and he was doing this personal development course that I nudged him to do. And he was so afraid to open up and share what he had been dealing with in his life. But when he actually did that, he realized that, it doesn't make me weak. I actually feel happy. I feel like I'm connecting with people and they get me. And oh my goodness, they've been dealing with some of the same things that I've been dealing with. So it can really make a difference.
You talk about that class, but you mentioned even making a game out of being vulnerable and connecting with people.
Yeah, that's part of the fun. It shouldn't always be so heavy. Make a game out of it because these days there are so many card games or books to give you some prompts and questions to ask each other to create deeper connections. So if you get stumped on where to begin, you can do a quick online search to find resources that will help you. Yes. And, another resource that might be beneficial with dealing with the stress of this pandemic is I have a free stress guide. If anybody wants it, they can text yes to 66866.
Is it as simple as that, as just starting the conversation, whether it's with your coworker or with a family member or a friend, just starting that conversation?
It's starting it, but also maintaining it. It takes time to build that trust. But if you're someone like, for me, for example, with me and my father, we used to just talk about weather in school and that's all we would do. And I realized for me wanting a connection with him, I needed to be the one. He was not going to open up first. I needed to be the one to open and be vulnerable. And it didn't happen overnight. I had to be a lot more vulnerable for months and months before he started to open up and share what he was dealing with. So it took some time, and it takes patience.
We have shared all of those tips from Dr. Alice Fong in the 207 section of our website and News Center Maine app.
Still to come.